Patrick.
And I'm Beth Adams.
And this week on DSW, this is season 2, episode 3, and we're dipping into the vault. We're going to go back to the original DSW. We're going to see a young man named Dwayne Bruce. And when you see him, you'll recognize him as another character in wrestling. But he's taking on a young man named Eric Embry, who was the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion at the time. Now, Dwayne was the first Deep South original person, one of our original members, kids that trained from the first batch of guys that got a chance to actually get an NWA championship title match, and that's the match that we're going to see today. Tell us also about the big show we got coming up at Mixed Deity.
Absolutely. So I am really excited to see this video from Deep South Wrestling's vault, highlighting the past of Deep South Wrestling and going into the future. We have a show coming up on Friday, May 20th. At Mixed Deity Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. You can buy your tickets online right now, cheaper, at www.mixeddeity.com/DSW.
You know, our partner that comes out here and does commentary with us, Eric Adams, like he gets plenty of airtime. We get to hear him talk, but he is very upset and says he has some things he has to get off of his chest and is demanding some interview time. So I'm really kind of anxious to hear what he's got to say.
All right, we hear a lot from Eric Adams.
Well, let's hear a little bit more.
Let's hear more.
I have to be a man about this. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to myself right now. We are now 3 episodes into Deep South Wrestling, and the greatest heavyweight match in the history of Georgia wrestling has come to pass. Everyone's talking about 3 broken boards. Everybody's talking about the slams, the hits, the excitement. Everybody's talking about Jacob Johnson and Eric Adams putting on what is known as the greatest big man match since Hogan and Goldberg at the Georgia Dome. What they're not telling you about is the concussion I sustained. They're not telling you about the broken hand I got with 3 different broken bones here, just to give you guys an idea of how these two look. It's not fun being Eric Adams these days. And I fought so hard for this, because there's a part of this that you people don't understand. People who look like me aren't supposed to be great athletes. People my size aren't supposed to be great fighters. And then I proved the world wrong. But Deep South's doctors have decided to tell me on May 20th, I can't be in the show because of my hand and because of my head. I've worked so hard for this business. The rematch is what everybody wants, but they're not going to give it to them. But I'll tell you this. Deep South, fine. You don't want to give me your rematch, fine. But I want you to show the world. I've given you 3 weeks. And for 3 weeks, I've begged you. Show Jacob Johnson versus Eric Adams. Show everybody what they missed if they weren't there. And for 3 weeks, it sat on the damn shelf. I don't have no shots to call here. My last name's not Patrick. My last name's not Hamilton. All I am is one little Puerto Rican kid from New York City that just wants a fair shot. And I gave my best shot in that match. May have not worked out the way I wanted to, but I gave my best shot. And now you want to take away from me May the 20th. Well, I got news for you, Deep South. You better have security there. You better have police there. You better call the National Guard. Because one way or another, I will be at that show. One way or another, you're going to hear from me. And one way or another, Eric Adams is going to continue to make an impact on Deep South Wrestling.
Looking for some new podcasts to listen to? Well, look no further than the Rat Style Review Network. The Rat Style Review Network is your go-to one-stop shop for the best podcasts out there today. Go to ratstylereview.com for more info. The Rat Style Review Network. We're taking over.
Skrilla the Great, the king of controversy, Mr. Destined for Greatness, if you will. What got me into pro wrestling myself? I just found wrestling on TV, and first person I saw was Macho Man. So that answers one of your questions. That's one of my favorites, Macho Man the Ring himself. It wasn't an easy task. Wasn't like everybody having the funds to make it happen, so I kind of coordinated myself into getting where I'm at now. Staying strong to continue to pursue this thing I call a dream. It's not an easy task, but as long as you keep your head up and keep moving forward, anything's possible. Naj is one of the hottest wrestlers in Georgia right now. He's doing everything he can to surpass me, but I keep trying to tell him it's not a competition. I'm in my own lane and we're on two different paths. He can meet me at the top, but he ain't stopping me from getting there. Be great and understand the path to being great so I can spread it to everyone else. Actions speak louder than words.
Deep South is coming right back.
Deep South Wrestling is sponsored by the Sellers Law Firm. If you're in Griffin, Georgia, and you need assistance, please call 770-415-9848. The Sellers Law Firm, where clients become family.
We are here in the Deep South training facility with Nausism. Nausea. As you know, Cedric Terrell got into a horrific car accident.
Yeah, it's been a rough week, and I actually had to meet him at the accident scene.
Oh.
Cedric, plenty of people know that's my protege. We train together. Really trying to take him to the next level here in the business, and it's just been a lot to deal with. But you know what? Like my shirt says, it's always time to fight, and
he is fighting right now. I heard he got a little banged up, and he is still trying to wrestle and to be. And he wants to wrestle Skrilla the Great, your opponent, that you faced at Resurgence. He's going to face Skrilla the Great on May 20th.
He can't compete. He can't compete. But me, who I am, I'll do what I gotta do. So I'm scheduled to face Prince Kai at Deep South May 20th, and I'm gonna take Cedric's place.
You're gonna take his place, wrestle twice that
I'm
night?
gonna step up. I'm gonna do what I do, and I'll wrestle twice. Because, like I told everybody before, being the greatest, the best is not a catchphrase. It's who I am. And the greatest, the best can step up and can wrestle 2 matches in one night. And I can win 2 matches in one night. So Skrilla, you already know who I am. You already got the smoke once. So you'll get it again on May 20th. And so will Prince Kai. Time to fight.
Very interesting words from narcissism.
Yes, on Friday, May the 20th, he wants to step in for his protege, Cedric Terrell, who got hurt in a really tragic car accident.
Yeah, and he's not medically cleared right now, so.
No, he's not medically cleared for the month of April, and he may not be cleared for the month of May. So narcissism may have to step in, but he'll be wrestling 2 matches that night.
Yeah, well, I know he's got a big heart. How can he? That's too big of a mountain to climb.
Yes,
You know, that's 2 of your very top names in the state of Georgia right now. Prince Kai in the top 10, Skrilla in the top 10, and you're talking about facing both of them in the same night. Oh man, that's a tall order. And I know that he's wanting to protect his brand and he's wanting to step in, but we've got to have another answer somehow. I don't want him to have to wrestle both men at the same night.
No, I absolutely get that. He's got the heart for it. He says he's got the drive for it. He wants this, and I'm really curious to see how this all plays out.
Speaking of heart and drive, I've got a young man named Josh Lund that is one of our trainees, and he just was in a big wrestling tournament down in Jacksonville, Florida, and he took the bronze medal. We're very, very proud of Josh.
How amazing is that? He is actually a high school teacher and a wrestling coach. And he has actually made a tutorial for us.
Yeah, we're going to see that here coming up. He's going to show all you young men out there, and young ladies, everybody, anyone who's interested in amateur wrestling, he's going to show you the proper form and technique for the single leg takedown, I believe, on this tape.
Absolutely, and hopefully next week we can sit him down for an interview to talk to him about how his tournament went.
Oh yeah, I want to hear all about that tournament. That'd be awesome.
Hey guys, my name is Josh Lund. In addition to being a trainee here at Deep South Wrestling, I've also been a high school wrestling coach for a long time, been involved in amateur wrestling for most of my life. And I know that a lot of you Deep South fans have an interest in not just what we do here within these 3 ropes, but also the classical style of the amateur wrestling. So today I wanted to show y'all just one little bit of that sport in case you're interested. This is how you set up for a shot, which is the basic setup for most takedowns. So when you're going to take a shot, first of all, stance is very important. You want to go ahead and get either a staggered stance, meaning you've got one foot out in front, or a squared stance where you've got both feet kind of lined up in the same position. Either one works, whichever you're most comfortable with is fine. So for our purposes, we're going to start with the staggered stance here, and you want to make sure toes, knees, shoulders. Now if you're leaning out way like this, that's bad news bears, you're off balance. If you're way back like this, also bad news bears, you're off balance. You want to make sure nice and lined up. Now, this is one of the fundamental pieces of the sport of wrestling. There's a ton to learn, but you've got to get the basics down first. And once you've picked up those basics, you can start building, and we may see you out here, at Deep South Wrestling.
Brought to you by Oddity Screen Printing, based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but can meet the requirements anywhere in the world to get your craziest ideas put on a t-shirt, a poster, or a pamphlet. Check it out at odditiesprinting.com.
Time for the big match with Eric Embry and Dwayne Bruce.
NWA Junior Heavyweight title match.
Well, Rock, we're underway. World Light Heavyweight Champion Eric Embry, and I've got some interesting facts on Eric Embry. I spoke to him a little bit before the match. He is the only man to have ever held the World Light Heavyweight title twice. He did lose it one time to a young man named Sean Simpson in Reunion Arena last Thanksgiving, and he was able to recapture that title on Christmas night at the same place at Reunion Arena.
This is our first look at Eric Embry, but he certainly has a very good reputation, Nick. And any man that can hold a world-class title, not once but twice, has to be able to back up what his publicity says.
As we said, he's from World Class Championship Wrestling, and he is the only world champion to defend his title throughout other leagues and other divisions. Right now, he's here in Deep South Championship Wrestling. Now, the weight limit for his title is 232.5 pounds, Rock.
Dwayne Bruce is really surprising Eric Embry at this point. I don't think he expected this level of competition anywhere.
Well, Dwayne Bruce, a young man, he's about 10 miles from his hometown. The biggest match of his career against a world heavyweight champion just 10 miles down the road from his home. You know that his adrenaline gland is really pumping right now. They lock up collar and elbow. The world champion, Eric Embry, goes to the eyes, rakes the eyes at Dwayne Bruce, nails him with the right hand to the top of the head, backs Bruce into the ropes, fires him off. Beautiful move by Dwayne Bruce, sunset flip, 1, 2. He gets a 2 count on the world champion, Dwayne Bruce. Right back up. Looks like he's going for a backslide, and he does. 1, 2. Oh, very close. And the young man from Jonesboro, Georgia, with another sunset flip. 1. Right now, he is all over world champion Eric Embry, and Eric Embry out on the floor. He's going to regroup as a young man from Jonesboro, Georgia, really starting to take it to the world light heavyweight champion, Eric Embry.
I can't help but be impressed by Dwayne Bruce's improvement every time I see him, Nick. He shows more wrestling knowledge and better condition, if that's even possible, every time he steps into a ring.
Right before the matches, you introduced us to a couple of fine young ladies that are with us here tonight for this edition of Deep South Championship Wrestling, from some very major wrestling magazines.
That's correct. Marty, if I may ask you, what do you think of this young man, Dwayne Bruce, in against a world's champion for the first time in his life?
Well, I think he's giving us a very good idea of what his strengths are. As far as size and conditioning, they seem to be fairly equal, but I think experience is going to be the deciding factor here.
Well, that's a very good opinion, although upsets can happen. And Dwayne Bruce is a young man that's proven himself to be extremely tough against every opponent.
Good reversal by Dwayne Bruce into a backdrop. Beautiful move. Up with a flying arm drag, and he hooks the arm on Eric Embry, and he cinches up tight, and Dwayne Bruce is really starting to electrify this crowd here tonight, Rock.
Dwayne, as usual, is in peak condition and showing peak form, Nick. I've never seen him step into a ring without having the advantage in condition, at least, and certainly with a great deal more wrestling knowledge than a lot of people give him credit for.
You know, Rock, I'm very proud of young Dwayne Bruce. This is the first graduate of the American Academy of Professional Wrestling to get a world title shot. And he's doing it right here in his own backyard, and he hangs onto the arm as the world champion tries to toss him off, but Dwayne Bruce cinches up tight and takes Eric Embry right back down to the mat. Dwayne Bruce right now really starting to show the world champion what he's made of.
Eric Embry seems to be sort of stunned at this point, Nick. I don't think he really thought he had an opponent that could put him down to the wire like this.
Dwayne Bruce cinched in tight on that arm. He's into the hammerlock on Eric Embry. Embry to his knees. Dwayne now goes back to the bar on the arm, and Embry, a lot of pressure being put on the shoulder and elbow area right now. Dwayne Bruce, as he positions his body weight over the top of Embry. As you can see, Embry slapping at that hand, trying to get a little circulation back into the hand. Dwayne Bruce clamped in hard. Once again, Embry tosses. This time he does toss him off and levels Dwayne Bruce with a clothesline. Now we're going to get a look at the world champion and see what he's got. Rock, and I know his reputation. I have seen him wrestle on numerous occasions. He is a consummate wrestler.
Well, you have the advantage on me at that point, Nick, but I will have to say he exhibits a very solid knowledge of wrestling, all the holds and a lot of the moves. And here he comes off of that second rope, right onto the arm of Dwayne Bruce.
Dove in with a headbutt across the collarbone and the shoulder of Dwayne Bruce. Dwayne Bruce rolls over, trying to get to the ropes, and he's really starting to favor that shoulder now. The world champion cinches in, and he goes for a suplex and completes it. Drives Dwayne Bruce down hard on the mat. World light heavyweight champion Eric Embry defending his title here in the Deep South area, a snap mare. Eric Embry brings Dwayne Bruce over to the mat and sets in with a rear chin lock. And now he's going to try and wear the young man out a little bit, Rock.
Well, if he wears Dwayne Bruce out easily, it'll be the first time in history as far as the history of Dwayne Bruce is concerned. I've never seen anyone tire this young man out completely.
Well, he's a competitor. He works out hard. He trains hard. He's probably one of the most well-conditioned athletes in the sport today. And he's earned this shot. at the world champion. Dwayne Bruce with a couple elbows to the midsection, off the ropes, fine shoulder tackle. Embry goes down, and Embry's starting to back up now. And you can see the fire in the eye of Dwayne Bruce, and he starts to take it to the world champion. Sits in with a front face lock, and the champion, very, very smart, may have set him up for that one, Rock.
I think so, Nick. I think he laid the trap that Dwayne Bruce fell right into, and he just sort of gave him the old slingshot right through the second rope and onto the floor. And Dwayne Bruce is favoring his back now. But knowing Dwayne Bruce, he's coming back into that ring.
Well, he's back up on the apron now. Embry takes over, a rake to the eyes, hits the ropes on the far side, comes off and just unleashes with a big right hand. Takes Dwayne Bruce off the apron and down onto the floor. And the world champion now very confident with his ability, as well he should be.
He may be a little too confident, Nick, because you can't walk away and turn your back to a competitor like Dwayne Bruce. He'll be all over you like a fishnet.
Bruce in underneath the ropes, back into the ring, and Embry pours it on. Immediately grabs him in a front face lock and opens up that face area and catches him with a right hand, and it looked to me like a closed fist, Rock.
Well, the champion's not taking any chances now. He knows how tough Dwayne Bruce is.
Dwayne Bruce now starting to get a second win. He turns things around on the world champion, brings him over. There's a pinfall, gets a 1 count out of it. I think he's going to have to wear the champion down a little bit more before he goes for those pinfalls, Rock.
Well, he tried for a small package, Nick, but Eric Embry saw it coming, and he broke the hold before Dwayne Bruce could set him.
World champion Eric Embry once again takes over on Dwayne Bruce, sets in with that rear chin lock. You know, I'm very impressed so far with Dwayne Bruce in this match. He's shown himself very, very well against the world champion.
Both men are impressing me, Nick, and I'd like to ask Diane Kirkland. Diane, have you seen better competition anywhere?
No, sir, I sure haven't. It's amazing to me that you could put on a match like this. This is great.
Dwayne Bruce now fights his way to his feet. It looks like he's trying to get up into that top wrist lock, Rock. And so far, he's been pretty successful. He's up. And Embry turns things around. It looked like he grabbed a handful of hair, fires the young man off, and Dwayne Bruce catches him with a boot. Oh, he goes for the elbow, and Embry moves out of the way. The world's champion right now just one step ahead of Dwayne Bruce. Scoops him up, gives him a big slam, and the world's champion once again has control of the tempo of this match.
Right now, you have to say that's why he is world champion, Nick, because he's managed to stay ahead of all opponents.
Off the second rope, Dwayne Bruce moves out of the way, and the world champion comes crashing down hard on the mat. And now young Dwayne Bruce with a second win. He's to his feet. He backs the champion into the ropes. He fires him off, and Dwayne Bruce goes to make the move. Beautiful drop kick. The champion goes down, and the champion now is starting to backpedal. I think he wants to try and slow Dwayne Bruce down, Rock.
He would like to, but that's really a task, Nick. Nobody's been able to do it yet.
Look at this beautiful monkey flip by Dwayne Bruce, and he's really turning the tide on the champion. Drops an elbow on Eric Embry. There's the cover. 1, 2. Oh, a 2 count. Dwayne Bruce back to his feet. The world champion on his knees. Gains control. Goes to fire him off. Good reversal. Another reversal. Dwayne Bruce up on the ropes. Beautiful crossbody. The world's champion rolls through. Looks at, oh no. There's a 3 count. There's a 3 count.
Well, Nick, there's no question of that. Marty, I guess in Mankato, Minnesota, you've seen a match or two at that.
Yes, I have, but this is one of the most exciting ones I've seen in a long time, Rock.
Thank you, Marty.
Very unfortunate break for Dwayne Bruce. First world title shot of his young career, and he did an excellent job because the world champion ended up hooking his tights to score that victory, Rock.
Follow, like, and subscribe to Deep South Wrestling's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok.
You're going to have to show me how to do this now, okay? I'm Nick Patrick.
And I'm Beth Adams.
See you next week.